This is a Hope 1032 podcast.
Hello, welcome to Undistracted. I'm your host, Laura Bennett, and this is the podcast where we learn from our guests how to be better at building our lives with intention around our passions, our purpose, and dealing with some of the stuff that can get in the way of it. This week is our final episode for the season. Thanks for being on the journey with me, and it's a special bonus one for you as we finish out. If I was to say the names Johnny, Moira, David, and Alexis Rose, do they mean anything to you? The fictional family that fronted the CBS sitcom Schitts Creek were well loved, especially during the pandemic, when their offbeat humour and their very memeable one-liners offered the comedy and the heart we needed. Our guest this week is Canadian Noah Reid, who famously played Patrick Brewer on the series, and who, after that rendition of Tina Turner's Simply the Best, was revealed to be a wonderful singer-songwriter in his own right, as well as a great actor. Noah is bringing his Everything is Fine to It to Australia in October and joins us to talk about playing characters that shape culture, finding identity in fatherhood, and starting young in the entertainment industry. Let's welcome Noah to the show.
Thanks for having me on. This is great.
Last time you toured, it was a little while ago. Coming into this one, of course, no doubt feels a bit different to previously. How is it this time around for you?
Well, I'm excited. I haven't started yet, but I'm taking what information I got from the last time around. That was my first time out tour. Started at the end of 2019 and ended with a global pandemic a few short weeks later. So I will be very excited to get back on the road and playing songs again. In the meantime, I've released 2 records, so there's a lot of competition for the set list, but I'm excited to get out and play some of these songs live. And certainly, I've never been to Australia before, and I've been obsessed with it since I was a kid. So this will be a major bucket list checked for me.
Yeah, you're going to have to experience all the stereotypes and do all of the things that everyone tells you that you have to. But on the latest album, Adjustments, with that one, you cover so much emotional ground, from whether you're talking about feeling left behind, being in love, the surprise of contentment. How did you arrive at this set of tracks, or did you just need to get all of that off your chest?
Well, I think probably there was a certain amount of that. A lot of those songs were written during the pandemic when there was like a little too much time to think about yourself or the world or whatever memory you had going on that day. But I think the common denominator of those songs was all about making changes, and certainly we've all been asked to make a lot of them in the last number of years, whether it was protocols to keep everybody safe or dealing with some of the systemic injustices in the world that we're kind of confronting as societies. And it just felt to me like all of these songs had to do with these big kind of seismic shifts. It was a big couple of years in terms of our outlook on ourselves and sort of a bit of a reckoning, with the natural world and with our own landscapes internally. So yeah, I feel like all of those songs came from some place of feeling like, okay, how can I reflect on what I'm bringing to the table and how can I make some of these shifts that need to be made?
What does that process of reflection look like for you? Because when the world changes in so many different ways, when your personal life changes, becoming a husband, becoming a father, there is a lot of change to deal with. How do you do that for yourself?
One step at a time. I don't know. I kind of, I've always been a little more reactive than proactive, and that's not useful in a lot of situations. But when it comes to changes and shifts, it's probably, it's held me in good stead in some senses of sort of embracing something that's new. I can approach it and say, okay, well, what is this like now? I don't know. Let's investigate. Let's try things. Let's see how they kind of. That's kind of how I'm, much to my wife's chagrin. That's how I'm approaching parenthood. It's very fun. I can see my son has a similar take. It's great.
As long as he's fed and happy, you're fine. Just go in with curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and an open heart.
Yeah, and you've been able to express your creativity in so many different places, whether it is in songwriting and performing, Broadway, obviously on screen as well. Is there one of those mediums that you find most energizing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I kind of, I rely on all of them for different things, but there is really nothing like live performance for me. It's still the thing that kind of, gets my heart pumping. Music is still relatively new to me in terms of, playing shows, but I've been performing since I was, 6 years old. And there's a certain level of comfort actually in being on stage for me. As strange as that might sound to a lot of people, I really relish that time. And I think in the years that I have been playing music in front of people, I really want to foster a connection between the audience and between the performer. There's something electric that happens there between us that it's different. It's different than having music in your ears, which is a much more kind of intimate experience. But the live thing is this collective thing that I feel really excited about. And I don't think I could do one thing without the other thing. I think having actually both, recorded music is sort of like television, and theater is kind of like live performance, and those things, they work together really well in tandem.
Yeah, you kind of need the whole mix. And I think too, as an artist, you obviously have more creative control when you're the front man on stage, when you're doing things on Broadway, as opposed to on screen, when even though you're doing the performance, somebody else is kind of in charge of how it comes across because there's an editor that it's filtered through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes that editor really helps you out.
Yeah.
But definitely there's something about, from a performance energy level of going, okay, if I'm starting a play or I'm starting a concert, I got to be on when the lights come up, and I got to go all the way through no matter what happens. And I think that's a pretty, it's actually kind of a wild mental state to live in. But if you can get comfortable there, and I will often tell myself, there's just no difference between being ready and not being ready. It's just when it's happening, and just trust that you've done your preparation, and you're right where you need to be. Just the best thing you can do is be present. And, if you mess something up, just move right along. It's all good. Nobody cares. It's the thing that you don't want to do is dwell on it, hang out on it, let it ruin everybody's night. So yeah, and it's a fun mental exercise.
Yeah, and the audience have a little bit more fun when they see you step up though too, because everybody's like, yeah, like you're human, I'm human, we're here together, and it makes it a really one-of-a-kind experience, so it's fine.
Totally. I love it as an audience member when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen now?
There is a bit of preparation involved though, and for someone like you that works across so many different mediums, you've obviously got a really good creative instinct. How do you train and develop that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think listening to yourself is a big one, but also just doing it. I've been acting since I was 6, and I've been performing on stage since I was 6, and I've been playing music probably since I was 6. 6 was a big year for me.
Big year.
Like. But I think that like just the repetitions and following the thing that you like and doing it as much as you can, and if you do something enough, you start to realize you have a sense of what you like and what you don't like. And I've certainly tried to cultivate that in my music, and, and surrounding yourself with people who can introduce you to new things. And, I worked with my dear friend, Matt Barber, on all 3 of my records. And every time we've tried to expand the scope a little bit, and he'll be like, I'm hearing this. And I'm like, cool, let's go with that then. Cause I haven't heard it that way, but let's try. And so we find that finding people that are super talented and that you like spending time with, that's probably a good way to expand your palette too.
Yeah. And I was kind of late to the party on just how early you did start in this industry, because I didn't realize how much of my childhood that you shaped. As the voice of Franklin the Turtle, you contributed to Baba, you were involved in Pippi Longstockings. I kind of went, oh my goodness. So thank you for that. But given how much of, my childhood and so many others you shaped, does that mean you kind of didn't have a childhood of your own, or do you still feel like you got that even though you started work so young?
No, I think I was really lucky that my parents really, really made a conscious effort to not let the acting stuff run away with my life as a kid. And I got lucky also that like animation was such a part of my life that didn't have the same footprint in my childhood that probably being on a regular on a TV show at the age of 9 or 10 would have. But, they were very supportive. I really wanted to do it, and they were super supportive of it as long as it maintained, being fun, and that I wasn't messing up my life in other ways. They were super supportive of it, and they were really conscious of letting me still, I sang in choirs, I played on hockey and soccer teams. I was always involved in other extracurricular activities, which probably meant a lot more work for them.
Yeah.
But I was grateful because I do feel like I got to have a wonderful childhood as well as this kind of like career that was happening at the same time. I wouldn't have thought of it as a career. It felt like fun to me,
Yeah, some fun projects. And we know, of course, your career took off hugely during the pandemic because you didn't just shape our childhoods. You also got us through the pandemic on Schitts Creek, playing Patrick. Again, thank you for that. We needed it. And that was when a lot of fans, that was when we really learned you could sing and make us cry with Simply the Best. How do you feel about that song now?
Well, I mean, the great Tina Turner passed away earlier this year, and that song has had so many different iterations of life. And Bonnie Tyler, I think, sang it first, but I love that song. I mean, I've sung it a lot.
Yeah.
But if you had to sing one song over and over again, you could do a lot worse. I think it's pretty fun. And when we were coming up with the arrangement, when I was coming up with the arrangement and sending it to Dan, I really wanted to make sure that song was honored in its kind of original state, and also that there was something totally different that would speak the language of the characters in the moment. And so that was a very fun thing to kind of toy with musically. And that song is a part of me in some way, and I will continue to twist it around until I feel like I've gotten every little ounce of juice out of it.
Do you think you guys could predict in the moment as you're shaping that first arrangement, getting ready to obviously perform it on set, just what an impact that scene would have in amongst all of the others on that show?
I don't think there's any way to know what's going to grab people. I think what we felt was that we were making something authentic and true and hopefully resonant, but the way that it impacts people is never something you can predict. And I don't think that we could have imagined that it would find as many people as it did.
And it is incredible that characters, whether the ones on that show or others, have a way of creating cultural movements and moments, which was so significant with what Schitts Creek did. But other shows, of course, have had that happen too. What is it about certain characters you think that does allow them to be more than just a person on screen, but something that does really speak into culture and shapes it in some way?
Well, I mean, we've all had the experience of watching a show and identifying with a character, or even falling in love with a character or many, and feeling like we know them. And I think people turn to television and to theater and to music and to dance and to visual art and all of the arts and moments, in big moments in life and small moments in life, whether it's like something huge is happening for you and you want to watch something that engages that, or it's just like, you're eating dinner and you want to be like taking something in. The arts are an incredible place to kind of reflect to us who we are and what we're doing, and also show us possibilities. And I think, I've been lucky to be a part of a lot of projects that have done that. And as an audience member, that's what you hope for. And as an actor, that's also what you hope for.
Do you enjoy, as an actor, the art or the process of creating a character more so than the impact that it has on the audience that watches it? Like, as an actor, what's your motivation? What you're going to portray, or how it's going to impact somebody on the other side?
I think the best way to impact somebody on the other side is to be present and totally focused on your corner of it. As an actor, you have to involve yourself as deeply as you can with the truth of your character and relating that between the other characters. That's how you give yourself the best shot at communicating anything worth communicating, I think. And as a musician, I feel like, there's a great Tom Waits quote that I will totally butcher, but it's something like, I'm much more interested in how my work affects my audience than how many of them there are. So that, I think, is a thing that I also try to focus on musically. Is like, if it feels true to me, there's a good chance it will feel true to somebody else. And if it feels true to one other person, that's great. That's better than candy for me, I think.
Yeah, and whether it is on stage or on screen, I feel like the lolly bowl is very full when it comes to you. If we're gonna go with candy, I mean, why not? But when you're coming to the different roles that you play, the songs that you write, are they each an expression of your own sort of journey into your identity? Like, they're so distinct in their own way. Is that a way for you to explore who you are as well as a person?
Yeah, I think so. I started really writing songs when I was in theater school and was exploring character through writing songs from that character's perspective. And, eventually started exploring my own perspective that way. And it's been a fascinating way to continue to figure out what I think about any given thing. Often I will start writing a song and I don't really know where it's going to go. And then I'll be like, oh, I guess that's what I wanted to talk about. Okay. And I don't think that's not really a pop perspective on writing songs. I think that generally that has more to do with like a kind of a hooky sentiment and then filling it in and building the bridge to the chorus and then maybe a key change or whatever. I mean, there are all these little building blocks that songwriters will use. And I'm not particularly smart about that, but I think of songwriting as almost like a puzzle that I have to solve, and playing within a rhyme scheme and figuring out, how best to, I might catch something and go, oh, right, I can build around that. But it's like I'm trying to stave off the dementia by playing with as many Rubik's cubes in my mind as I can.
It's a smart way to go about it. I have heard that if you're wanting to look after your mind well, you just have to do something that is difficult to you and keep your mind malleable, and then there you go. So once you've mastered the art of songwriting, you're going to have to find another project.
Thankfully, I find almost everything difficult, so this will be really, really useful for me.
And becoming a husband, becoming a dad, that's two new identities to take on as well. How has that impacted you? Has it impacted you in terms of your sense of self?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think I've ever felt better in my life than the day I became a husband and the day I became a father. Those are just huge moments for anybody. And I think I always knew I wanted to be both of those things, but the sense of purpose and meaning and just the sheer joy and love that I feel in both of those capacities are huge, and they greatly outweigh any of the challenges. Though the challenges are many, I'm incredibly grateful for those are the best roles I've ever played.
Oh, what a way to put it. I mean, well done. I hope your wife hears that. Definitely gets the tick. But it's
too. I don't know where she is.
Yeah, stick that on a poster somewhere. But it's not an easy thing. Like, you're growing a life, you're building a person who's going to be part of the next generation. Like, what sort of things are you wanting to teach them?
Oh, language, music, kindness, empathy, everything with a grain of salt, a sense of humor about it all. I mean, I don't know. There's too much, frankly. You sit down and you think about that kind of thing and it becomes very overwhelming. I hope that I can just be present and kind and funny enough for my kid. And he's certainly all of those things already. So it's kind of mind blowing when you meet your child and you're like, I think you're kind of already who you're going to be. And then there's some skills along the way, but I'm not going to be one of these parents who's trying to force his kid into the NHL. Although, who knows, that might be very, very good for him. Maybe that's what he wants to do and I will support him. But I think learning a musical instrument is good. And I think having at least 2 languages is probably super awesome. 3, even better. But, you also got to enjoy yourself and whatever he wants to do, I want to help him do that.
Yeah, make him a grounded and talented individual. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Noah. I want to ask you a question that I ask all of our guests on this podcast. It's called Undistracted. We talk to you about how to live our lives around our passions, our purpose, dealing with some of the stuff that can get in the way of that. If you were going to live a truly undistracted life, intentionally focused on what sets you on fire, what would that look like for you?
Oh, man. I don't know. It's a strange answer, but I think I'm pretty close to already doing that, which is a really, actually a wonderful reflection. I get to go around the world singing my songs and thoughts and then come home to my beautiful family. I think that's pretty good. I think, I'd probably get rid of my phone if I could get away with not having this piece of machinery on me all the time. That'd be super awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably easily distracted, but I'm most distracted by the things that I like. And that has been a really nice thing. So that's probably not a very satisfying answer, but But ideally, I'd just get to like travel around with my family, play songs. That'd be even better.
Yeah, no, it's a great answer. Feel free to bring them to Australia. We'll have all of you here, and it'll be a great party. We'll be ready for the barbecue.
Sounds good. I'm in.
It's got to feel good for Noah to be able to have that reflection, to make that realisation. What a kind person. He is bringing his Everything is Fine to Australia in October. You can find out more at noahreid.com. I'd love to hear what you thought of this episode. Reach out to me on Instagram at laura.bennett_. Rate this podcast, review it, subscribe, share it with a friend. And until next season, enjoy living this undistracted life.
This is a Hope 1032 production. Thanks for listening.